Hello there. This is where the fun begins.
Hey there guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Obi Wan Kenobi show and some behind the scenes of that went into the overall making of the Disney Plus show regarding its canon restrictions and how one of the writers was heavily frustrated over that. Let's go ahead, we're going to hop right on into it and talk about this. In this video we're going to be taking a read from the Direct's article. I'll have their full article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. As they read, Wall-E director Andrew Stanton, who also co-wrote the final 2 episodes of Disney Plus's Obi Wan Kenobi, has had some challenges with the restrictions working on the Star Wars series regarding the canon storyline. Lucasfilm and Disney's series Obi Wan Kenobi wrapped up its 6-episode run some months ago at this point. While it didn't take the world by storm, it was still a very popular show in its own right. Kenobi, of course, saw Ian McGregor's legendary Jedi Master take on Darth Vader in a high-stakes rematch. The entire season was driving towards the former friend's fateful lightsaber clash on an unnamed planet. Now, the Star Wars franchise's sense of canon has always been somewhat free-flowing, but the live-action properties, at least, are seemingly made to follow a strict sense of continuity. And it seems that Andrew Stanton, who helped write Kenobi's 5th and 6th chapters, took some issues with these limitations. Two-time Oscar-winning director Andrew Stanton, who notably directed Wall-E and Finding Nemo, was a co-writer on the last 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. He remarked to Gizmodo that being tied to established Star Wars canon was both the blessing and the curse when discussing his experience with Lucasfilm. In that full quote, he says that was the blessing and the curse of it. Like, it's one, you're geeking out that you get to type Vader says this and Kenobi says that. You pause and say, I can't believe I'm actually getting paid to type this. I can't believe these words may be said, but then another part of you has to go through such a rigorous, like, does that fit the canon? And like, it's bittersweet. The reason that happens is because people care, but it also kind of doesn't allow sometimes things to venture beyond where maybe they should be able to tell a better story. So it can sometimes really handicap what I think are better narrative options. Ending the quote right there. As the article continues to read, Stanton went on to add that he was sometimes frustrated during the writing process due to such continuity restriction. He referenced Andor as being easier to write for, with that show existing in a quote-unquote safe spot in continuity. In that full quote, he says, and so I was frustrated sometimes. Not a lot, but I just felt it wasn't as conductive to the story. I love it when something like Andor is in a safe spot, and it can just do whatever the heck it wants. But I felt, Joe B. Harold, Obi-Wan Kenobi co-writer and executive producer, to his credit, kept the torch alive and kept trying to thread the needle so that the story wouldn't suffer, but it would please all the people that were trying to keep it in the canon. But I got some moments in there that I'm very happy with. Ending the quote right there. I really gander the overall takeaway from these, quotes and sayings from the co-writer Andrew Stanton about his process of writing and working on the Obi-Wan Kenobi show is that it is really cool to hear about what it's like working on these shows, especially when it's something very special such as the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, where you're bringing these characters back that were previously a part of the Star Wars franchise 20 plus years ago with the early 2000s prequel movies. And to also really just continue on their overall story there as well is very cool to see. Now, from there, the article goes on to talk about, is Star Wars continuity hurting its future? Star Wars as a franchise has literally been around for 45 years at this point, and though that time, many other creators and visionaries besides George Lucas have been able to tell the stories in a galaxy far, far away. This has been particularly true since Disney acquired Star Wars 10 years ago, but some of those creators have found it limiting due to Lucasfilm wanting Star Wars to stay true to a certain style and a specific continuity. This mindset has led to a dismissal of a surprising amount of different directors and story creators and everything like that. Perhaps most notably Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who were set to go and write for Solo for apparently playing things too fast and loose to the Star Wars canon and continuity. Having a sense of canon and continuity and interconnectedness is very important in any big name media franchise, Marvel, Jurassic World, or DC. But when it comes to an expense of creative liberty from some of the top talent in the industry, then it might be time to rethink things. The reason Andor is so praised is that it gets to play outside of the box a bit and mixes up the Star Wars house style, quote unquote. Hopefully Lucasfilm pays attention to Andor's acolytes and carries forward what they've learned into the future of the franchise installments. Especially when you're taking a step away from Force sensitive and Jedi and everything like that, and you're working with everyday normal people. And video isn't necessarily about Andor, but that is what makes Andor truly unique and different and separates it from every other piece of Star Wars content, maybe aside from the Book of Boba Fett and maybe The Mandalorian. I mean, so far we haven't seen any Force users or lightsabers or anything like that in Andor. From there, that is where the article concludes, and as I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, I have the full article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. Of course, I want to know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, some of your thoughts and opinions on the overall storytelling process and overall creative visionary when it comes to the Obi Wan Kenobi show. Do you guys think it's good? Does it meet the requirements, quote unquote, with just Star Wars continuity and canon in general? I'd love to hear what you guys all think in the comment section down below. My overall takeaway from that whole ideal is that I think it doesn't really fit with the overall Star Wars canon and continuity. I have a video talking about this linked in the description down below. It's titled Why Obi-Wan and Vader Have to Fight Again. I'll briefly mention it here, but essentially the gist of it is that the end of Obi-Wan Kenobi and the final duel that we see in the finale of the show, we have it so Obi-Wan is the one that wins and walks away. However, a famous line in A New Hope for when Darth Vader and Obi-Wan meet once again on the Death Star, Vader says that when he left him, as in referring to that Vader had left Obi-Wan. So it doesn't really completely match that continuity and that in canon, especially when you really want to get down to the specifics and the nitty-gritty of it. Anyway, as I had mentioned, I have a whole nother video talking about that linked in the description down below, titled Why Obi-Wan and Vader Need to Fight Again. And of course, as I had already mentioned, I'd love to hear what you guys all think in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys all think here about this overall article here and the overall behind the scenes here and creative process for when it comes to the Star Wars canon continuity, especially with Obi Wan Kenobi. This has been Unofficial Star Wars. Thanks so much for watching today's video. As always, may the Force be with you. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one, guys. Peace out.